Welcome to another PoPCast. That's right, People of Penang. I'm Mo Nazrul. We're here with Eugene, and today, some very good friends of ours, the ones and only. Well, actually, technically, there's two of you. That doesn't. The duo.
The one and only duo.
The one and only duo. We got David and Rebecca. David is a renowned photographer, having journalistic experiences as well, and also produced some of the most fantastically beautiful pictures I've ever seen of Penang and its various facets and historical
some of you may
sites.
know his brand as David ST Loh.
Oh, right. Forgot. We have to go the whole thing.
Yes.
It's like Brad Pitt. You have to have the full name, David ST Loh.
Thank you so much, guys. It's a pleasure to be here.
Most welcome. But actually, we've been very excited about this because, we've been very collaborative in various events, and we seem to have always gelled well. And the last time when we met, we actually got a visit to your actual gallery, and I love the way you guys work and how you've managed to, I guess in a way, I'm gonna say monetize, but I don't mean it in a sense like YouTubers like, oh, we're doing about them, and it's like
sustainability
business model in regards to art and photography. So, especially I read your profile. You came from a marketing background. I think
Yes,
ST
I
Loh
did.
are companies, right? Like
Yes, I did.
So-
Multinationals and all, and being based regionally, and then suddenly coming back to Malaysia and doing something totally different.
Yeah. I kind of figured. One's marketing, one's more on the. But is there any similarities between the two, between marketing and developing a brand?
Well, when we first came back, we were very, very lucky. We came back in end 2017, 2018, and then we managed to get a drone. The timing was perfect. It was just the latest model that you can do panorama and all that. And we started photographing Penang in a very unique perspective. And within a very short time, we had this body of work that we wanted to show off to people. So we managed to get ourselves into the Georgetown Festival. And what we did right was we decided to be the best we can be. A lot of artists are afraid. They want to produce work that what they think people will buy. But we say to heck with it. We say we will produce the best work that we have ever done and people have ever seen. But of course, that takes money. So that was the first issue we had, and unfortunately Georgetown Festival didn't have money to give us, and we managed to ask our good friends, and we had one patron, Dr. Eileen, was really, really amazing. She just said, how much you need? Here's the check.
Oh, wow. So
And because of that, we dare to go ahead and did the best exhibition with it. So it was 1 month at ENO for the 2018.
Oh, right before COVID. That
Just
one
before
was just leading up
COVID.
to
And
lockdown.
that was so successful. And we managed to price it, at a price never seen before for photographs for 1 meter. But then we discovered, hey, this is blue ocean. That's, there is a market because nobody else dared to be in this space to produce this high quality stuff. So we produce museum quality prints that in 2020 the governor of Penang bought 3 of our prints and then he auctioned it, trying to raise 300,000 with 3 prints. We were like, are you sure? Because that would break any record, and that was during COVID. But luckily, so because of that, we forced ourselves to produce the best work, print the best quality, using the best paper. And then the auction, it went up to 30,000 each print.
Wow.
So that was amazing to be able to see and to be able to then realize you can use our product to be able to help the community. So we are very energized and encouraged with that. So that is one of our main mission now, to use our books, to use our prints, to see how much we can help the community. So that gives us a great pleasure for that.
Yeah, it's also pretty interesting as well, because remember, Eugene, when we had the meeting the last time we met, you mentioned how at one point, when you were making your books, you had a different model. I think it was more of, it's not exactly pre-sale, more like
Yes.
you asked people to
Yes.
pre-buy?
Yes. So what happened was when we started, to publish. So basically, we had that great exhibition called Over Penang at ENO, and the chief minister came, and we told him, CM Chow, that hey, we would really love to promote Penang overseas. If you are interested, we will do a book because of that. Then it legitimizes, our work, and also you can use the book. So we were very lucky. The CM was very supportive. He told us, "Go ahead, I will buy." So it gave us the confidence to go and did the book within 6 months, and we produced the book, which we won the best book in Malaysia for the English category.
You have it with you right now, right?
Yes,
Maybe for those of you who are watching the video.
So we produced this book.
You might have seen it before.
2019, and then we won the 2020 Perpustakaan Malaysia book for the with the help of Bettina Chua. She did the writing, we did the photograph, and also the design.
Is this your first book?
This was our first book.
First time lucky.
And and the competition, the award wasn't even an annual award. It was only whenever they have money. So since 2020, there hasn't been one award. So for us to win this, it was really pure luck.
Because when we were informed that during COVID, we got an email that says, "Oh, you're finalists in, your book has been assessed, and one of the finalists for the English category." And we thought it was a scam.
Yeah.
So we didn't even want to answer the first email.
That's right. We did not.
Yeah.
Then eventually emails started coming, and then more official titles and all this. Like, let's just open it, and then we realized that this is happening. And then when they informed us that we won and told us to submit our thank you video, since we couldn't attend the
it was COVID. It wasn't there wasn't a
So it's
live.
from Perpustakaan Negara, right?
Yes, and
right.
it was
Not from some prince in Nigeria.
This wasn't some award where you pay to
$10,000.
enter and all that. So this was a proper award. So we are very, very honored that we won this award. It gave us the confidence then to do others. So when we did this, we were like normal publisher. We spent our own money, print this, and then tried to sell it. So when we started, to check with the professionals, publishers here, they were like, "David, don't do it. Penang is a small market. You'll be lucky to be able to sell 100 books." So, but we were confident in ourselves and we were confident in our work. So we went ahead and published 2,000 copies. And within 4 months, we had to do a reprint. And, so we were very lucky. We came out with a concept of selling our books, not the masses, but to corporations. So as long as they buy 100 books from us, we give them their own customized jacket that they can choose from any of our photographs with their message, with their
You're
logo.
up to how many
and all that.
copies right now?
So we did another 1,005, and we need to do a second reprint and also convert it to.
So it's still selling, still printing.
It's still selling. In fact, the governor, whenever he has a big event, he will still call up and says, I still need 50 books or whatever.
Wow.
We still have the chief minister.
So inspiring story for others.
Yes. So a lot of people don't realize that just publishing a book is enough. You must make sure there is somebody who is willing to use the book. And we were very proud that the chief minister actually says, "I hope this book convince you to invest in Penang." He actually tells us investors, when he gives this book. So we were told by the aides, that, so we feel, wow, that is some serious acknowledgement from him.
For real, because the quality of your work, especially we'll get into the photograph because I loved your explanation the last time.
But as you know, for a book, it's a teamwork. It's not just us. We do most of the work. The concept is ours, but of course, it's a teamwork. Bettina Chua did such an amazing job writing this, and then our designer Ellie Hill, she was superb. So we were lucky, both of them.
So Ellie was already has been exposed to his program. So when we approached her, I was looking for designers and all that, and I saw her work for another photographer, and I thought, hey, she knows how to place images. So when I approached her, then she said, "Oh, I know his work." So it was very easy for her to place the into the layout.
It was amazing because it was the first time working with Ellie, and for this book we only met 3 times. The first time to explain the concept. The second time, she gave us a mock-up and we just, modified it a bit. And that was it. The third time was perfect.
Yeah.
So to be able to achieve that is really, really amazing.
With only three
work.
revisions.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't even revision. So
Yeah, you have a
So-
full books, right? So before we continue further, right, I think
Yeah.
we could give our audience some context first.
Why we're wearing hats.
Yeah. So why are we wearing hats today? Well, if you're watching, you'll see that Sergeant Mo there and Lieutenant Kwa here. Yeah, we are wearing hats. So we have a distinguished guest. They look like they're on vacation because Penang is a permanent paradise. Yeah.
Well, they kind of remind me of that
Yeah.
the paleontologist in Jurassic
Yeah,
Park.
yeah,
though.
yeah, Or if you go darker, we look like some soldiers,
we are
catching some
always
tourists.
on the move and always out. So as you know, our weather is so hot. So we have been wearing hats, and
for the
for the longest
longest
time since we came back. And now people don't recognize us if we don't have a
without
hat.
our
Exactly. That's why we are prepared because we know that they will wear it, and we are prepared.
Actually, yeah, we were
Yeah.
talking about it last night. It's like, they're always going to be wearing hats. Should we wear? Actually, you suggested it. I was like, yes, we should. And I was really going through so many different variations. I was actually planning to come here originally with a bucket. I'm like, hi, this
Okay.
is my hat. Thank God I
and that
decided.
will do. And that will do too. I
Yeah.
guess if we circle back to marketing and branding, it's all about that. From his work, and then him being more prominent
Yeah.
as the face, and also to the level of how we produce the quality of things, and then to even ourselves, being present, and this is how we are.
Yeah. And that's what I love. There's no pretension, there's no like image or, off work, on work kind of persona as some people do. I actually hate that. I mentioned on a few podcast episodes. But back to the photos, like the one in Over Penang, right? I could have foggily forgotten a few details, but if I remember correctly, it was a unique situation because you got a beautiful top-down angle of the table.
Oh, yeah.
And was it?
That's the cover.
Right on the cover. And you
Yes.
were mentioning that this was the last time they set it up in a way.
Yeah,
'cause
so
it was just
what
after-
happened is, they used to have very long altar table, and during a good year, more of the Chiu Jetty residents will bring their food and they extend
It's
the
offering,
table. So during 2019, when we shot this photograph, it was a good year. So it was 2018. So it was a good year. The table was probably 35 meters or so.
They closed the road and it
so
was
they
a
closed the
35
road. That
meters.
was the first time back that we were. That was the first time I had a drone. So when I saw this, I said, wow, that will look very nice. Oh, shooting it there. So this was the first frame actually I shot for this. And then it was so funny because we know a lot of the local media and they have been covering this for the past 20, 30 years, So when we came, they saw us, they say, there's nothing new to shoot. There's no new angles and all that. So then when we showed them, they were amazed, because nobody has done this
Yeah,
straight
from top
on
down.
from the top,
Wow.
very flat. So everybody in 2019 wanted to shoot this. So 2019 was a lot of drones and all that. But unfortunately, 2019 was a bad year economically. So the table half was empty. So so that was unfortunate. But then after that, COVID hit. And then since then, they started again 2 years ago, but they've reduced the ceremony. They simplified it. It's not on the main road anymore. They moved it into the temple, and now it's only 4 meters or so.
meters.
So that's we feel very, very proud that we are documenting things that have disappeared or has
things have
evolved.
changed,
And
So
we-
this is the tengto, is it?
this is the
this is
the Pai Ti Kong lah,
Pai Ti
basically.
Kong.
Yeah, Pai Ti Kong during the 8th night of
On the
the
eve
Chinese
of,
New Year,
yeah,
the
of the
Emperor Jade
Hokkien.
God Festival. So we when we showed this, it was very unique and it was very irony because we are using a drone and it's supposed to be shooting panoramas and landscape, but most of our very famous photographs are all about festivals. So festivals of St. Anne's, festivals of the Tess, festivals of Thaipusam and all that. So it's really unique. So we've been trying to get one for the Malays, but there's none that we can.
Hari Raya.
Even the Hari Raya and all that, you don't get masses out
Yeah,
there.
because the pockets
But
are
yeah.
in their respective
That's right. So
villages,
until today, we are
hometowns,
still
home
looking.
cities.
We are
Yeah.
still looking, trying to get that shot to complete our Muhiba series.
Yeah. There's very few situations where you would have maybe
That's
the
right.
early prayer, but then everybody's inside the
That's
mosque. It's
right.
not
The
like
mosque,
yeah.
how you have the ethnically Indian and
we
Chinese
thought the
stuff.
parade after the prayers will, but it didn't make any good photographs. So we are still trying. Yeah, we are still trying to.
One of the things we want on the show is to let the people who actually make the art and all that show us a little bit of what happens in the background, the thought process, like we usually do. So, how do you work, David? Are you the one that just fly around waiting for something to happen, or you plan and plot it?
I like how Rebecca's like, no, not that easy.
No, it's hard.
child.
It's hard to be lucky when you don't plan. So we do a lot of research before we even do a project. Using whatever that we can use to help. Like inside here, there's a photograph of that one day in every 6 months where the sun aligns with our Penang Bridge. So things like this, you have to plan ahead to know exactly where
the
to
timing.
be, the timing to be, and all that.
Angle.
So we managed to even cover whole of Sarawak in 17 days, and managed to get enough. So this is the photograph of the
wow.
where
sunrise.
the sun.
And it's right at the crease of the book. I mean,
So
slightly
We use
offset
the
'cause it looks weird.
astronomy software Stellarium.
Exactly. We use our planet.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, to be able to get even a degree change.
Yeah, for those who are interested, there are now free software, planetarium software.
Yeah,
you
there are
get
a lot
for
of
free.
software apps that can help you if you want to know, whether today you can see the moon, what
Milky Way,
direction, what
everything.
time the Milky Way is coming out, so on and so forth. So we do use all of that to assist our planning. We did a project in Bagan in Myanmar, and we only had like probably 6 or 7 shooting days, but we got enough to cover to do a book on over Bagan.
Yeah,
which
can
we
you
are still-
imagine? Names are like so foreign to us, and then I gotta make sure that we get to that particular temple or that particular area at the right time because of the sun is setting or the or rising and all that.
Yeah, you have to be
So-
at the right spot, the right time, because as you know, sunset, sunrise don't wait for you. If you are late by a minute, that's it.
I remember like when we were doing a coverage in Sarawak and I would drive, right? And it's like to get to that place, it's like, okay, Dave, get ready to just jump out of the car, He had to
I like how you call him Dave. I'm sorry, it's adorable. I apologize. I was just like, Dave. It's like, huh?
Oh yeah. So because we know that has to happen and we need to capture it because we have so few days left to just cover. And he has jumped off the car. That's what he does, and then because there's traffic, there's highway and all that, and you just go, and then it's like picking it up later. Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, I guess our motto is who dare wins.
Oh, the special forces.
You just do it and hope for the best.
So some of the research can take months. Like I would troll forums and all, and thankfully I could still read Bahasa and all that. So sometimes hidden gems and certain places that's being mentioned. So you just go into other forums and someone who says, oh, you have to go to this area in order to get to this because the sun is gonna be there, or this tree is now overgrown. Yeah, so a lot of like reading here and there with different forums, even from Instagram and all, and sometimes friends will send pictures that says, hey, look at this, that's a great view, and then but there's no other information, and you can slowly try and trace where that scene might be. And
all the while we are still following our initial motto of doing the best. So all our photographs that we shoot using the drone and all that, we can easily print 4-5 meters, and we have done 10 meters
Very
before.
high resolution files.
Very high resolution. Some files are like 5 gigabyte of data, which
Just from one flight.
So unlike many other photographers who shoot, they use one frame and all that. We don't. We use and shoot multiple frames to get the best quality from that small sensor, and then able to print out huge files.
Wow, and here
so
we are,
that is our-
Eugene complaining about a
We
6
can-
gigabyte.
We can go
Like-
in. We can go in.
Yeah.
Deeper into this. But
That's
on
right.
People of Penang, it's what we really like to talk about is a good origin story.
Oh yeah, actually,
Yes,
that's true.
yes.
That's true.
So maybe David and Rebecca, you can tell us how did you get this idea to get into this drone art business?
It was
Just
it wasn't
tell
an
us.
art business. It was just an evolution. We got the drone because we wanted to impress our first client, Sim of Escape. We were hired to shoot, but we felt a drone would be much better. And this was the second drone we had. The first drone we had 2 years ago in Singapore, nobody wanted to pay us for anything.
So
whether it's for
Escape
assignment.
approached you because you had the reputation, as a journalist, right? You're a
Well, we
photojournalist.
had to pitch very hard, and luckily, Mr. Sim saw our potential and hired us to do a shoot. So many of the photographs you saw in the Escape, they are ours that we shot, in 2018 or so. So we got a drone, and then just to impress him, we did a few. Yeah, for that, and that was the first. We didn't expect to to do art. I'm not an artist. I've never felt as like, I'm just
It's a photojournalist, so that
I'm a
has to be straight
photojournalist. I
news.
do walls and all that. So I've never covered, pretty things. But coming back to Penang, when we used the drone, it was like, wow, this is amazing. We have great sunrise, sunset. We have great formation. We have great
on the
colors.
ground, the terrain.
So we started evolving and shooting, very unique stuff. And then we found a market for it, and during an exhibition, and then we went ahead to have few more exhibition. And when we launched the book, we were actually in Fullerton Hotel in Singapore for a whole month, selling Penang, selling our work, selling our books.
And this was the very beginning when you made that
Yes.
transition.
That's
from-
right, from 2019. So to be able to have an exhibition on Penang at the Fullerton Hotel was a real.
That was a coup,
It was
actually.
a coup, yeah,
Because
to do that.
for them, they had reserved that particular exhibition space for Singapore artists or anything related to Singapore.
And that was prime area right next to the reception, and from there the guests would have to go from reception to the lift and will pass through our exhibition.
it was quite a-
so it was a
nice
main
setup,
such a beautiful place to do an exhibition. So that was really an eye opener that what we can And what we realized in the exhibition, we thought, hey, everyone in Australia, in Singapore, in Indonesia will know about Penang. And what we found out was the contrary, that most people don't even know. And here we are selling the stage, selling the place, telling them how cheap our property is and all that, and the whole month that we were doing.
Really marketing it like a brochure.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
you see, if Penang, you're writing about Penang, doing photos of Penang, you got to say, promote Penang. I mean, that's basically that's the whole point of it.
But not in a cheesy way. I mean, that's what I love about your work.
That is one thing we don't. Again, going back, we want to promote Penang as the best we can, not the cheapest. We always say there's a huge difference between value for money and being cheap. Because being cheap, you only have one level down. The cheapest, but being value for money, you can be any level. You can be super expensive, but still value for money. So that's the concept that we find a lot of people in Penang don't understand that. They just want to be cheap, and it's not. So when we sell our prints too, and it can be a few $1,000s for each print and all that, but we tell them it's value for money because we have managed to auction off for 30,000.
30,000.
And here you are getting it for 3,000. So in that sense, that's value for money that you're using, and we are using our prints also to raise funds for.
And also the thing is, like as you mentioned, you're not some fresh. If you're a fresh grad and you're snapping away, there's no problem with that. What I meant was you actually have a wealth of experience before you transition to this. So it's not just you're a photographer, you were a photojournalist. Hence why I phrased it that way specifically, because I wanted to really delve into that. You mentioned there was a lot of planning and everything, but when it comes to photojournalism, right? Isn't that more ad hoc? Did that
Yes.
develop you in any way?
In photojournalism, you can't go to school for photojournalism. It's school of hard knocks. You know, you must have experience. You must have the ability to read, be street smart, because you're out there covering all sorts of events. You know, we are thrown in. Suddenly, you're covering Olympic sports. Suddenly, you're covering
A riot.
a riot. Suddenly, you're in the war zone. Suddenly, you're in a plane crash. Suddenly, it's a disaster.
You're
Suddenly,
waiting for
you're
the
meeting.
decisive moment.
Yes, and in that environment, we are giving photographs to client who doesn't even have time or space in the newspaper. If you look at the previously, not now, previously for international news, which is what we are covering, they only have maybe 6 to 8 spot for photos. So 6 to 8 prints. But the editors for every photograph, every newspaper, magazines around the world receive 2,000 images. So for your pictures to be used in any of the international papers, you must be your quality must be good, or you must know to shoot a certain way that you can stand out among the 2,000 every day. You see, so we are trained through that process to be able to put everything in one frame and tell the story in one frame or in two.
Which
at most.
agency do you work for?
I was working for Reuters, so I started in KL as the photographer for KL, in charge of Malaysia and Brunei, and then after that I went over as a sub-editor for the Singapore Global Pictures Desk, and then I ended up as the editor in charge of the Global Pictures Desk. So that's when we left at 2016 as that. So coming back here in Penang, we had to restart again. We didn't have any network. I was away from Penang for 30 years. So we had to start from scratch from 2017 and 2017 and onwards. So, we in the past 5 years, we have produced 5 books. We have a gallery, and we are doing another few more books. But what we are very proud of is we did one book project for MBS, and we helped the school raise 640,000 doing that book. So we are very proud, and we are trying to use the same business model to help other schools, other temples, other churches, and all that. So at the moment, we have a project with Pure Lotus Hospice, trying to use this book project and raise $500,000 for them.
So David, are you from Penang?
Yes, I was born in Penang, and I grew up in Northern Street, which is like 100 meters or 50 meters from 0 Mile. So I says you cannot be more Penangite than being born at 0 Mile. So yes, I'm from Penang.
Right on the line, huh?
So you said about MBS, so you also...
Yes, I went to Picard, and then I went to MBS. But I left at Form 6. I was there for a few months for Form 6, and then after that I left Penang. Yeah.
Did you always wanted to do journalism, or you stumbled into it? How did it work?
Well, when I left MBS, I had I knew photography because I was in the photo society, but it wasn't a career. I studied in Vancouver, UBC, studying biology to become a doctor. Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying biology to become a doctor?
Yeah,
Wow.
because over there you have to first degree first before you can do medical.
Are you actually a doctor?
No, I'm not.
Are you?
But
okay.
what happened was, as parents, Asian parents, they want you to become, so what I did was we signed up for biology in Vancouver, but then luckily they had a very good student paper called UBC there, and being a poor student, when you work in the media, even if it's a student paper, you get a press card. And with that press card there, you can go to any performance, any shows, any events, and all that. So that got me hooked. I was like, wow,
Yeah, I
great.
actually missed that.
Yeah.
I used to have one in my
Exactly. So I even covered the Goodwill Games in Seattle then, in I think 98, 97. And I got hooked. So before I even graduated, I came back, went to Star, showed them my portfolio, and says I want a job. So I was lucky. Before I even graduated, Star offered me a job, and so that's how I started my career in media. But of course, I love photography. I hate writing. So when Mpo Tip she was just an amazing editor. We loved her a lot. Unfortunately, she just passed away last month. So she hired me and she says, David, if you come in as a photographer, you only get 750 ringgit. But if I hire you as a journalist, you get 1,002.
Is there a difference? I'm sorry. Okay, first of all, I come from a different
Yes.
radio.
Yeah.
Cannot
Yeah.
see but hear voice. Yours
Yeah.
is like can see but
Yeah.
So is there a difference between a journalist and a photographer? They're not the same.
They are different category under the set. So in that time, there's no such thing as photojournalist. I had to create that post for myself, meaning we shoot, we write, we do the stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So before that, there was a clear cut. You only do photos, you only do writing, no mix. So when I went in, wow, that was a very tense period because of course the photo editor was like, "What are you doing? You are not a photographer.
Was
you
it
are
just this region of photojournalism?
Photojournalism was more set up in US and Canada, but here it's still very fixed. Until today, it's just a job. It's not a passion for many of them to join. So we have a lot of, like for us, wherever we go, we carry a
Yep.
camera.
Accessory.
So we always have a camera, but many for them is a job.
I think
so.
that-
As soon as they leave their office, they don't carry anything. So
Some of the newspapers, photography here is more like, just a utilitarian, pragmatic.
Yeah, it's like an intern
It's
pressing
like fast
click
food.
on-
It's like fast
Yes.
food.
So-
Assemble a burger.
so for many.
Photojournalism is like gourmet burger.
Yeah. So for many, it's just a job, and then we'll just do. Whereas for us, who are passionate about work, we want to get the best. We want to be able to tell the story. We want to be able to, show people how bad or how good something is. So that is a different criteria, which we are trying to teach our clients. When you hire us to document something, it is not to just fill up that spot.
Yeah.
It is to move emotion and get changes or change in attitude. It happened twice in my career where we photographed one event and suddenly we got calls from around the world. People want to help this poor girl, So that it really changed my attitude of how powerful an image can be and how it can change, not just your neighbors, your friends, but people you don't know around the world.
Yeah.
So that is something
when you
very,
get
very powerful.
The decisive moment, the magical moment, it tells a story. Whereas just a simple snap, it just documents the thing.
Yes, right.
Where
So
doesn't tell a
what
story.
we are trying to do, we have a project called Over Malaysia, where we are trying to document and show people what Penang, what Malaysia is at the moment, and then share it with as many people as possible, because we realize a lot of people don't even know how beautiful their own village is. So
No, exactly. I
what we are
agree.
trying to do, and then that's why we have been having our pop-up exhibition in KL, and amazingly, we even have one Over Malaysia exhibition during the Petronas Badminton Open in Azteca. We managed to get the organizer to pay for that exhibition, and we were right in front of the VIP suites. So that is gives us great pleasure to be able to sell. To share our work with all these people.
Yeah, it's funny when we're talking about the past, right? Because I mentioned this in various podcasts before. It's like, for me, it feels like everybody had amnesia that for 2 years we were locked out, right? And even when I'm thinking back in 2018 was a great year for me too. But 2019 was when the rug got pulled under everyone. But before that, I think many people forgot how, as we rewind back time, things like photography, audio recording, even here sitting in, before we start rolling the cameras, you were saying how all these analog items, right, that they're still here. And that's one thing I love about his recording studio. You guys are awesome, that they still have these. But what I'm trying to say is, like, in the 90s, if you were able to record an album, you are a bona fide musician, celebrity, whatnot.
Yeah.
But nowadays, any 10-year-old can, like, but the soul is missing. You know what I mean? Like there's a difference between
The barrier to entry is lower, but you still need to work your art. You know?
Not true. I mean, now people are so used to consume TikTok. It doesn't matter what quality.
Yeah.
Any crap
Unfortunately,
will
yeah.
get viral and all that. That's the saddest part, which I feel. There's no more quality. Even the hotels don't care about any quality as long as it's in reels. You know, so people don't appreciate the best of the best anymore, which is what we are facing, our main problem. You know, when you try to be the best and everyone's like, they laugh at the cat videos and all that. You know, so it's tough on artists to be able to stand out because people don't appreciate good quality stuff anymore.
Yeah, I think
Although there's a trend change, you heard of Carissa of YouTube?
Carissa.
Yeah, she's a really going viral now. She's doing
I feel like I'm like-
cinematography kind of vlog. You know, so it's something like from Netflix. It's not the usual random one, and it has shot to the top of the algorithm. People can appreciate it when you do something fresh. I mean, TikTok after a while you're gonna reach 0 seconds. There's no more content. And you just have to increase content again. But there is a limiting factor. 0 seconds.
You know, the thing is, you're right, because for me, right, I am obviously not a photographer, but I've done a lot of work with my voice, you know, and throughout the 13 years of working in media, just doing radio for the most part, you know, I've learned that tonality matters, and it drives me crazy when people use the wrong tone, you know. I'm just like, are you angry? It's like, no, I just feel like that. I was like, why? But you become sensitive to it. But I think, does it happen to you as well, where you have this hypersensitivity and room awareness when it comes to photography? For me, tonality, audio. But for you, is it the same?
For me, in photography, what is most important for me is balance. You know, in whatever you do, you must have that balance, and people recognize that balance. To be able to say, wow, that's a great photograph, which is what we try to do a lot in our images and all that. But that is something very difficult to teach. How do you teach balance in not just the composition, but in colors, in situation, in timing, and all that? Yeah. So I feel many do not have that, and many, when they look at our work, they'll know, oh, okay, this is very good, but they have no idea why. You know, and balance is actually one of the main criteria, whether it's balance of colors, balance of contrast, and all that. So
I'm quite glad that you mentioned balance, because then that inspired me to ask Rebecca, hi, what is your origin story? Because this journey that both of you are on since 2018 or 2016 is the both of you, you know, and I don't think I could ever separate both of you branding wise and individually, personal wise. So what is your background, and how did you mesh into this journey that both of you guys were on?
I was still working in Singapore. I had my own marketing consultancy there. And Dave had already decided, I'm going to move back to Malaysia and see what's there. So it took me another 6 months before I decided that, okay, I'll let go things in Singapore to move back. And initially I thought that, okay, I'll back myself up with, okay, semi-retired, maybe I'll just teach English, which I did. Go through a whole training course and all that. And then coming back, and he says, oh, I've got this idea. It's like, okay, then we went into that whole thing. I'm not from Penang. So to me, I go around walking blindly and experiencing what this whole Penang is. I'm from KL. So it's very different. So from one city to another.
For those who just tune in, our show format is, as long as you are born in Penang or live in Penang, you're considered people of Penang.
Yeah, people of Penang. I mean, we won't hold that against you. I mean, they did take the capital away from us, but no harm, no foul. But yeah, but am I right? Eugene, Penang used to be the capital.
Oh, come on, you're a New Yorker.
Yep.
I'm just trying to be like you.
Just explain the format for
mentioning that Penang was the capital. When we did our fifth book, the Penang Hill Railway, we did a lot of research too. And yeah, it was a really eye-opener to hear the first governor saying that we had the largest concentration of foreign speakers in the world in one spot.
Oh, wow.
And that was,
Sorry,
in
what year was it?
1820.
1820.
Yeah. So Penang wasn't just, another port in Malaysia, and for that standard, we were an international port for the world. So it's really eye-opener.
Even now at the national level, the latest census showed that this North Coast area is 9% not non-Malaysians.
Oh.
So it's still very cosmopolitan compared to the rest of the country.
Yeah.
Second London, right? They used to call it. Right? I mean, you used to call Penang, Second London.
Yeah.
So
way
can
back.
you imagine the largest concentration of foreign speakers in one location? Yeah. So so that type of story hasn't been actually told and promoted about Penang, which I think our state must, as a tourism or as just to make people realize Penang wasn't some backwater.
Which I thought it was.
For some context, it was a presidency at the same level with Madras, Bengal, and all that, with all the administration. And until today, we still get all those nice things. Like our library is the oldest around. Our schools, our
many.
municipal councils and all that. These are all those inherited things which cost the East India Company a lot of money. They never made back because that's why they went to another settlement, Singapore, which actually made money.
Yeah.
But good for us because we got all the good stuff.
Yeah, no complaints.
And it became the capital of the Strait settlement for a while. So
So
it was a
that is
capital
another
city.
book that we would love to be able to
work
do,
on.
to be able to promote Penang that time. There are a few books written, but they are all off print and nobody knows about them and nobody has seen about them, and so that's the direction we are going, trying to promote Penang in that way.
Yeah, because the thing is, for me, I've always because I've been doing this whole Penang Hidden Gems thing since COVID, and I guess COVID inspired me to go on this path. But what I found is that, remember that podcast I did with Haja from Tourism Malaysia? So I had this little motto. So I keep telling people, so Malaysia or Penang in general, it's like a beautiful woman because Gaia, using the feminine, that's why, So she's a beautiful woman, but she doesn't know she's beautiful. She thinks she needs the glitz, glam, the dresses, the purses, the shoes, but in actual, her natural beauty, her history, her lineage, and that's how I came about with the whole thing I say on our tours, which is our history is hidden in the walls, in the ingredients of the food we eat, and the words that we speak. It literally is hidden in the walls. When we're doing the Japanese tour with Clement, right? A lot of the Japanese things are like sort of falling apart, but sort of melded into the wall itself. And only when you look at, oh my God, there are Japanese writings there. So there are all these, hence why it's called hidden gems. There are all these hidden gems, and it dawned on me that we should turn them into assets, because when you look at the flip side, right? Rome wasn't always Rome. A lot of the Colosseum and the Pantheons were underneath the ground before they dug it up and made it into a tourist attraction. The pyramid was, for the most part, before Napoleon came, it's like, this is interesting. It was just a couple of mounds in the desert. The Sphinx was under sand, So people, just like how people don't value art and photography or music in its natural state, they don't seem to realize that here, this is the amazing spot, and that's what I keep telling my kid. I keep telling everybody who's like, "Hey, besta duduk di US." I love it because I was like, okay, actually, because I don't think people realize we those who grew up in Penang and in Malaysia, they come from this part of the world, not realizing that you are at the coolest, most amazing part of the world. That people over there in the West actually want to come here, Well, we're concerned about going over there, and we're impressed by snow. Nothing wrong with snow. It's just sejuk.
That is why when we did the Penang Hill Railway book, and during the launch, I made the comment that we should make it compulsory that one cohort of our Penang students get to spend one day in Penang Hill to hike up, to take the train, to learn about the jungle, and to learn about the history of the hill. Because there's so much information, and it's before they then can fall in love with Penang.
And there's this long old saying, you haven't visited Penang if you haven't gone up Penang Hill. So if you're actually a Penangite, you really got to go with it.
So it's very unfortunate. Like in Singapore, all their standard 4 goes for the National Day Parade. So everyone in Singapore has a common experience to speak about. Where were you during that? What
When you
how was it
attend,
and all
what
that.
it-
So we do not have such a thing in Penang and Malaysia. So that will be a great event that every students in Penang get to know the history, how important the hill is, how valuable the hill is, and then learn about what Penang is.
We are lucky because people from outside the States, usually when they come to Penang, they tell us it's like, everything's so near.
Yeah.
But so many things are so near, it's so convenient. You have a UNESCO heritage site, you have a UNESCO biosphere
Yeah.
in such a small area.
Yeah.
You can go from beach to hill,
Yeah.
Just
just an hour.
of course,
So that is another of our mission that we are trying to push to be able to get somebody, a corporate, to work together with the schools and getting the schools to do that as a one day that everyone in Stand 4, Stand 5, whatever, to be able to experience that. At the moment, only the rich, international schools, they will have an excursion there. But the majority, especially the poor schools, they don't get a chance, so they don't learn about their own heritage.
Actually, I'm so glad that you mentioned that as well. I don't know. See, this is why I love the both of you. We see a lot of things eye to eye because, Emily's gonna kill me if I mention this, but so essentially we're in the pipeline to do exactly that. So that was one of the reasons why we went the NGO route instead of a corporation, because the tours people think we're like a travel agent. I mean, we are on paper to make it legal when we do these tours. We have a travel agency license, and Tiger has a tour guide license, amongst Clement as well. But that's the tip of the iceberg, because the end goal is the tours that we do are test runs. The final product of our tours is that we're letting the public test it out first, so we know what's good and bad. But the end result is that we want to have schools, like you said, Form 3 to Form 5 or beyond, just have the moment where they're learning about history. We take them around Penang. We take them around these different places. So we I guess COVID showed us a lot of things. We kind of got to this point where, just like maybe people don't know the value of what we're trying to tell them until we do it ourselves and be like, see? Different angle. Or for me, it's like, see? It is interesting, right? Just because that happens to me a lot. People are like, I didn't know. And it's like, where do you live? Right there. I was like, you lived there for 30 years and you didn't know?
Exactly.
So, hence why I said, because Emily's planning it out as we speak, but that is actually literally not the end goal of all our tours. So that's why it irks me when people say, it's like, how come you don't make money as a travel agency? It's like, that's not the end goal. What would have been a Sterling Berhad if that was? No, but I'm on the same vein of you. I agree with you 100%. It's just that I made a promise to myself during COVID, where once we open back up, that I will complain less and build more. So hence why you don't see me complain as much. I mean, I do complain internally, but it never comes out. But yeah, no, vibing with you on that one. I agree with you 100%.
See, we are working on Over Malacca now, and we are doing a lot of research, and just going there. And Malacca is already hub on the fact that, the historical part from the 15th century all the way through and all that, and everyone knows about it, but Penang, no one knows. That's why when I came here, it's like, it's and just old buildings and all that. But what I slowly discovered as I walk, and I get people asking me, "Are you lost?" It's like, I am lost, but that's the
recent
reason.
events in Malacca has shown that people may know Malacca, but not necessarily
but not
the right
necessarily
facts.
the right facts. You are absolutely right. Yeah.
In Penang, we do have an ecosystem of very passionate people who do all the research and all that. Hidden gems, magazines like Penang Monthly and City Eye. We have an ecosystem. Sometimes we have to remember we are actually ahead of the curve when it comes to this.
Yeah, how do we get there? Because the thing is, I've noticed that, because thank you for highlighting. So initially, I grew up in the States, but my parents were from Kedah and Malacca, and we lived in Penang for 3-4 years before moving to KL. But what I've noticed was the differences between KLites, Penangites, Johorians, and so on and so forth. Everybody has their own idiosyncrasy, but Penang seems to be a magic bubble. And I don't mean it in a properties. I mean this bubble where you have, for example, like Taipusam. You don't have such a big celebration in anywhere in India. But you have here, you have various cultures and societies and traditions and deities that you won't find in mainland China, but somehow has been preserved here, maybe because of changing in dynasties, and so much porcelain. See, people think porcelain is boring, but the moment I realized the intricacy of porcelain, it's like a storybook, and it's everywhere. And
It's our cultural inheritance. We are
Penang
lucky in a
is-
way, and in another way, our society actually values it. So
Penang is unique not because we have multiracial, but we have multiracial who behaves as if they are the
They're
same.
one.
So you have Thaipusam, where the community of Chinese are the ones supporting the devotees by donating the drinks, the food, and all that. This is very rare and
actually just
unique
spraying
around the
water
world.
on the road.
This
they
is
do
one
that.
other community supporting another religion, which it doesn't happen very often around the world.
And I think that's what
my mother takes her car to be blessed in the Indian temple.
Yeah, we cross. We cross. Yes.
Wow, that's
interesting.
wow. There we go. That's like what do you call?
Yeah,
what do you call,
our attitude has
cross-cultural
always been the more the better.
Yeah.
Mary have to do this. So we have no qualms about attending each other's prayers and celebrations and all that. That's the unique thing about Penang, where we grew up. Everyone speaks Hokkien. Everyone just really muhiba. There's no issue about
Actually, the creative industry thing, you do feel that collaboration is quite. You send me things, I send you things. We don't charge each other. I asked for a book, somebody just gave me. They share openly. It's actually very, I would say, a very collaborative.
Especially
culture
you with
still.
me, Eugene. You share me a lot of articles. I'm like, wow.
I never even once think of why not just share.
No, vis-a-vis, vice versa.
See, like for me, growing up in KL, the only time I knew about it's Deepawali is when my neighbors we exchange sweets and cookies and all, and that's about that whole extent of it. That then it's open house and all, but not like how Penang has it when the celebration it goes onto the road. Everyone comes in and partake in the whole procession.
we have
and all.
stayed in 4 different countries, and you can immediately see, Malaysians are really different. Even to Singapore. When we stay in Singapore, we were on the ground floor, and when
ground
our
floor
neighbors
unit,
walk past or when visitors walk past, we'll be outside, and when we see people, we will just say hi, smile, and a few times there'll be people who will walk towards our place and say, "Where are you from?" I say, "Well, I'm from Penang in Malaysia." He says, "Oh, no wonder you're so friendly."
Oh, ouch.
Yeah.
That's like
a burn to Singaporeans.
I got a story. Singaporeans are not judging you. It's just a real story.
No,
I
but-
also live in Singapore. My neighbor's bicycle, the chain just got dislodged. I just I'll just put it back.
Yeah.
Then the next day she came like, "Oh, you know how to fix it. I need to pay you." It's like, no big deal.
Yeah.
And that it's like just cannot understand that. It's like
So we stayed
what
in
we
a big condo, 900 units, and I was too gutsy, still a Penangite. I took over a land the size of a bigger than a badminton table, a badminton court, and grew my herbs in the condo. Of course, you cannot do that. So I grew it because it was on the side they didn't notice. After it was ready, I asked permission. They said, "Of course not." I said, "Well, it's already done." And we had herbs and all that, and we invite the neighbors to come and cut, and they were like, "Are you allowed to?" I said, yeah, just do it. We can. I said, "Why are you doing this?" I said, "Because I like gardening, and
We're
this is
just
a nice
sharing.
space. We are just
It's
sharing and
that
all that."
sharing
They couldn't
part,
understand.
Yeah.
There was uncle who came up to me and looked at me and said, "Kepo Ami, why are you so? What do you get out of this? What do you get out of this?" I said, I'm this is my hobby. I like doing this." He couldn't understand. So we bring the Kampong Muhiba spirit to Singapore, where during the durian season, we had a delivery. We know a delivery guy from Johor. So when he came, at the lobby, we'll inform everyone, and it became such a So, but you don't expect the Singaporeans to have that. everyone is on their own, and so it's a very unique and special character of Penangite and Malaysians that many times we don't appreciate or even realize.
Yeah. No, I totally agree because even when I was going to when I was working in KL, as awesome as being a 20-year-old in Kuala Lumpur and working in media, because it was amazing, but it really did feel that the cliques or groups or demographic bubbles are really apparent. Like Shah Alam and Asia Jaya are
in
two
Singapore,
separate.
Yeah, very separate.
Federal territory and Hartamas, two separate.
the first thing a Singaporean when they
Right.
meet you,
It's true.
Bangsa, TTI lain. Like, Ampang.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So
And Kampung
the first thing,
Kelinci, like,
First thing a Singaporean will ask you is, what school are you from? And that sets the tone for everything. If you are in the same, ACS or whatever, you immediately click.
If not, got second thing they ask, which area you live.
No, that's not as important.
But that's a soft bias. It's not as hard as like it's yes, there is an island in Seberang, but it's like a playful one. Like they cross the bridge, like, don't you hear what you do?
Well, that is one thing. That is one thing she cannot understand about the Seberang and the most amazing part is the people in Seberang are
In
afraid
mainland,
to say that they are Penangites. It's like, we are not Penangite, we are Berdian.
Yeah, that was
like,
such a strange
Oh no,
thing
David,
for
what
me.
I meant was actually in Singapore, they actually asked because they said,
Yeah.
you live in an apartment. They know lah, they can agak you how much you earn already. You live in
that's
HDB
mean.
and all that
That's
thing.
mean.
It's
What if
a
I'm a
reverse
millionaire and I like
engineering
apartments?
fact.
But yeah, no, I think maybe because a lot of it has to do with how the modern culture is built up. I mean, and I had this conversation with a couple of friends of mine who were leaving Malaysia, and it was their last party here, and I was trying to explain to a group of expats why Asian culture and Western culture are very different. And to simplify, I had to simplify. There are nuances, but I had to simplify it in a way where I said, okay, it comes down to wheat and rice. Wheat is one of those things where you can set up one season and then plant and grow the other season and harvest, and then for the rest you are drinking your whiskey, barley, beer, whatever it is that you produce from your product. But rice is a 365-day, 7 days a week, 24-hour sort of labor. You need irrigation, you need big plots of land. The harvest is every 3 months, and you have to keep the flow going, and you need a large, organized community, hence why the value in family, clans, and in the West is more like you can be that one guy that lives in a cottage for like 6 months, and then you come out, it's like, okay, I need people for my harvest, and you're like, okay, so that's why individualism culturally we have those different sets of values. But again, there are nuances, there are exceptions to the rule. I am an exception to a lot of rules.
Look, we as Asians, we eat communally, right? Compared to where they have the individual, but that whole food is brought to the table. As a community, everyone's eat. Whether it's a family, whether it's friends, it's everyone share. So I guess that just transcends into all the other aspect of our lives.
Yeah. And it's still preserved in Penang. I mean, in KL you have it,
very much.
but in Penang, I feel like it's the good stuff. It's the purest, high grade quality community. Because a lot of it has to do with the foundations of Penang. I think I could be very wrong. It's like the clan houses, the various associations and religious institutions. And I don't mean the federal ones. I mean the ones like the Aceh
Dude, you forgot the most important thing. The whole point of this show is the people.
Hence why we have a podcast about the people, and the thing is, I never really realized until, was it yesterday with Jason, right? We were interviewing Jason. He mentioned something along the lines of, long time ago, you knew who your neighbors were. Yeah. Nowadays, you don't.
No,
And I feel ashamed because I don't, so that's why I was hoping that this is why we do this podcast. So we get to know our neighbors. You guys are technically my neighbor.
This is also the second show where people were talking about Asian parents.
Oh my God. Oh, you dog. No,
So Jason said
we were talking about that as well. How back in
in
the
an
day,
alternative universe, he could have been a banker And in an alternative first, you could have been a biologist.
Actually, yeah, that's surprising. Or in an alternate universe, I would have been a lawyer.
Yeah. So can I talk to you a little bit about the brand, how you all got this idea? So you have a publishing house, right?
Yes.
Yes,
And you
we
also have David Loh. Are they separate brands or how does it work?
yeah,
And maybe
good
Rebecca can talk a little bit about the publishing part of the business. How you got the name? We really ask people, how do you name things? We like to hear the origin.
Our company is called Allerton. Right.
Oh, that's how it's pronounced.
Yeah, Allerton. Yeah.
So we have Allerton Asia Services and also
Allerton
Allerton Publishing.
But the first Allerton actually started in Singapore. Because I was ready to have my consultancy.
So
and
it's
that was
ELATON,
TON,
right?
yeah.
Oh, that is a really good name. It sounds so professional for me. It would be like,
How do you come up with it?
24.
What does it mean?
Okay, so it was all actually a mistake.
Oh,
So in 2016, I was ready to have my own consultancy and all that. And then he was kind of dabbling with some photograph, freelance. So we thought, okay, we set up a company. So now David likes the letter E. Why? E for excellence, as it says.
Oh, wow.
So even
So our two daughters are
daughters
named
are
E.
also.
What is
Amber and
this
Ella.
A? Where's the E?
well, at least Elon Musk name your daughters X or something.
So from naming our daughter, the company too. So we came up with, and he was, we were fans of Lord of the Ring,
Tolkien,
the movie, and of course the book.
Me too. I'm sorry.
There
Okay,
you
go.
So he says, hey, this noble man, his name is Allerton. It starts with an E. It's like, oh, sure. So
But
what?
it was ELATAN.
T-A-N, right?
So we're like, okay, the Singaporeans will not be able to pronounce Elatan.
It sounds like elated or something.
Yeah.
So we said we better change it and soften it.
So kind of soften it to Allerton. And I had to come up with
Sounds
a meaning of it, right?
No, it sounds very elven.
Yes.
Yeah.
there is a meaning to it too, because Aton or Aton, depending, right? It's the sun god, an old Egyptian
Wow, I
sun
see.
god. So an EL, right?
Yeah.
It's L,
L.
the
Oh,
the sun god. So it became such that. So we adopted that, and in fact, our first logo was just an E, but with 3 lines.
The rays.
forming E. So we went a little further to say the 3 lines is Sam. In Cantonese, and then it sounds like sang, alive. So then it's a company that's going to be, achieving something. So it just started on that, and we followed through with that. And when we, started our publishing house, we said just the same thing. Yeah, use it as Allerton Publishing, and of course, we started with Allerton Asia Services. We just continued from there. But
So were you involved in editing before that, or you started to pick it up when you actually started?
I
publishing?
used to write, bits of reviews and all that, and then doing edits, mainly for copywriting and all. But eventually, then when we got into the book, into publishing, I got more involved. So I do I am the production editor, so setting up, making sure everything is right, from your printers to
So she carries the
coordinating.
whip.
I see.
I didn't want to say that, but
Don't worry, David. I understand
You guys,
too. The dynamic between me and the
were
wife.
you guys in the same university in Canada or
no, I've
different
always
time?
been. I've always only studied in
I see.
Malaysia, and now in our 6th book, I am finally writing a little bit, but then it's a start.
Would
So-
you ever consider expanding on that in the future?
I
know?
don't know. That is something that I've always
We've
liked.
realized it's easier and much faster for us to produce a book if we hire somebody who's a specialist,
Subject matter
who's
specialist.
passionate about that subject matter. Then you're always surprised with new materials. Then trying to figure out, so like even when we did the second book, Simply Penang, it was just a photo book, but because we felt Peter Yeo was so passionate to be out
About
there,
Penang and
got
all.
him to write and got him to do that.
Peter Yu is a writer for the Michelin Guide, and also
Yeah.
he's involved in the Penang walkabouts.
That's
He's
right.
always smiling. That's what I love about him.
Yeah.
He's always smiling. It's like, hi, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that's a
The
genuine
subject
smile.
matter thing is quite important. I mean, at
Much
the time
so.
of recording now, it's in the news about in Malacca where the
Yeah.
tour guide, the tourist book is
the
riddled
tourism
with
Malaysia,
errors.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. it may not be intentional, but if you don't know the subject matter, no matter how
Yes.
good you edit
Yeah.
it,
You will
you
make
don't know
mistakes.
it's
Right.
wrong.
Yeah.
You don't know
Exactly.
enough to know it's wrong.
Yeah.
So
So
the
that's
subject
what
matter is
we
important.
we discovered, and we're keeping to that. We always hire the best in that subject, and it makes life so much easier.
Well, I'm just more excited because if you did develop your writing, that
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, symbolically in my head, you have one who's very visual, and then one who's very, one with the lexicon and the words, a demagogue, so to speak.
I
but
guess
for the
like
plain text.
even now, we will put our photo essay out. He does the visual, and I do the writing. Basic enough to just give you a sense of it because his picture tells everything. I don't need to express myself more.
And nothing wrong with hiring freelancers. Actually, in fact, I also too learned that very great lesson. Remember our episode 1, Eugene? How much I messed up on the audio. Thank you,
Yeah.
Eugene. No, that's
That's
how we-
episode 0. It never happened.
See, I realized.
Sorry, Catherine.
I realized there are some things
redo
you're good
it.
at.
We always make it a policy, and we always tell our client, whatever you do, something new, please hire the best, because it will then teach you the best practices, and the best network, so that you don't waste time to fundle and all that. It's worth paying professionals to show you the right way of doing things. Then the next project, if you want to do it yourself, go ahead.
Yeah.
But always hire the best that you can afford to be able to simplify things.
Yeah, no, I
Which is
agree,
what-
but I had to learn that through a knock in life to the face, and the embarrassment.
So, David,
Embarrassment of 2 weeks.
the David Loh brand is mostly for your drone, is it? For photography? Is
We
it
do
separate?
everything. We actually shoot. Well,
Underwater.
if you notice, I keep on saying we because I've been trained by my dear wife. that
No, I
this
love
is
it. No, it comes so
Oh
naturally.
no, I trained him too. Remember, I corrected him. We,
Yeah.
not you.
Yeah. So we photograph everything from underwater, land, and aerial. The only thing we don't do is space.
Yet.
So we cover the three. Yes, yeah. So
I mean, there are actually drones for underwater, like submersibles or something.
No, we dive.
No, you dive.
we
Oh,
dive.
the traditional
We
way.
dive.
Guys actually
we are
died.
divers.
Traditional way.
rescue
we are both
divers.
rescue divers. Yeah.
Like, so what does your what is it called? Is it called a paddy license?
There are many.
yes, yeah,
Paddy
many
is just
different-
one
What's
yeah,
your
of
just
them.
one.
That's it.
depth? The license for
For
your
recreation is 40 meters max, 120 feet.
and then for work.
For if you are a technical diver, you
Yeah.
can go.
Yeah, but-
when
but-
you
but
mix
we
your
keep
air and
to-
all that, you can go very deep up to 90 meters or so. But on for
And
normal
also for
diving.
photography, the light reduces and all that. So there are we bring our own lights and in down and all, but then you won't get as nice the corals and all that. We at a certain level, so we keep to a certain depth.
So
depending on the
we want to do a book on Penang Hill Biosphere Reserve, but because of that, they have our marine park.
Yeah,
So,
that's one place
we are
to
trying to
explore.
go diving, exploring to cover
within the
marine
Penang
park.
waters.
So,
You know.
I see that both of you have fancy cameras. Maybe you can show.
Of course, they have
Lift it
fancy
up for our-
cameras. It's like, footballer, you have football shoes.
Reka, so you're into photography too?
I've always enjoyed photography. So when I met him, it's like, oh, there's someone that I could, share an interest in, and also of course share gear, or take most of his gear. Then I used to scuba dive. No, I scuba dive, and then he started scuba diving. So it's like, okay, similar interest, yeah. So then there's no like, okay, I'm bored waiting for you to take a photograph, or I'm underwater waiting for you. It's the shared interest.
And I also like how your second sentence was something very practical. It's like, oh, you like photography? I also get new gear too. It's like, it's like my lenses went from yay to whoa.
It's like the ideal. Both of you like gear, but is it the same brand? It's both Nikon, right? There's no walls,
it
right?
became a joke for her friends to say, "Oh, your birthday, did your husband get you another lens or what?"
Yeah, he's always getting very practical things, gear, even printer.
Dear, I bought you a polarizer.
Yes.
Yes,
I can sense the friendship. You're all very practical giving. I know what to get you guys for Christmas. No, but so, because one thing, I only just now got to look at your cameras. They're scratched up.
Oh, yes.
these are the most cropped out cameras I've ever seen. And I don't know-
Photojournalist camera.
No. To
Positively.
tell you the truth, this is not. This is actually a technique to make new cameras look old. So we actually camouflage it by just putting
Oh, is that
tape.
what it is?
Yes.
Yeah, tapes.
So
and it
it's
does
not
look
because
like-
we go everywhere with our cameras.
You know, I use this technique too.
Yeah.
For a brief time, I do wedding photography and all this stuff, and it just distracts people with the branding. I just try
Yes.
to cover it with tape.
I thought that
So you just vanish
guys
like a
jumped
fly on the
in
wall,
and
you
some
vanish away.
adventure
Oh no.
running away
We have
from-
wrecked many cameras.
We have,
we
that
have wrecked
too.
many
And
cameras.
in fact, when we bring into the service center, right,
Yeah.
the technical guys, because knowing that he is a photojournalist, they actually inspect his camera more. Why? Because they needed to see like the whole where would
Which
it wear
part is
off.
wear off first?
Yeah, so then they
Oh.
know to recommend how it should be protected, what and all, like the base, whether it's all this. Okay, these are true roughing and all that because of the way it's being used. Right, it's being scratched
scrubbed.
against, and all,
Okay.
and all the hole and all that. So they love looking at his cameras or our friends too. They're who are photojournalists, just so to analyze how better to produce the next model. Yeah, to an extent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because also I'm a very weird soul in a sense where it drives Emily crazy all the time. I loved damaged things. And I don't mean it in like people. No. I mean damaged people, no good. I meant like things. Like I remember the first time when me and Emily were dating, I had this huge scratch on my car, like a motorist scratched it, and I would never. For 5 years, I didn't fix it. I don't know what I loved. I love the
That
scratch. I
scruffed up
don't.
look.
It's like I have a car of a Kanchil Produa brand, but
The Japanese word for it is the wabi sabi. The age, beautiful aging.
is that the golden thing they
Yeah,
do?
the imperfection.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, the
I get drawn to. Hence why if you notice sometimes and I'll tell it straight to everybody who's watching this. Sometimes I even wear clothes that have rips in it because I don't know why. It's just even this. It's and also Tapak Warisan's heritage sites are the same thing. I don't know why. I'm just really drawn to not dystopian one. That one's okay, I'm gonna die. But you know what I mean. There's something rusty. Hence why I loved the way your camera looks.
Yes.
It's not for display, right? That means I guess it's like
It's a tool for work. It's a tool for work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like for you, you like things that has been
Yeah,
scruffed
that's
up
why thrift shops. I grew up on thrift shops.
which could also mean that someone has really gone through it. There is
Yes.
a meaning behind this whole thing. Why that scratch? Why what? There's a story behind it.
Absolutely, that's it. I always love the human element in things. That's why I hate the idea of people having a professional self and a normal self. And I always got in trouble whenever I was working. I would always tell people, no, this is not your work stuff. You're just being in. But it's true because I felt it's so disingenuous. It's like, why do I have to treat you differently at work and off work?
Yeah.
If you're a bad person, I'm sorry, you're a bad person.
You're bad.
There's no way to hide it. But that's what I mean. The human element has always been interested. That's why I always try to tell people whenever I meet them, it's like, hey, from a human level, it was it's a pleasure to meet you. It's not that I disrespect titles. It's hard earned. Titles, positions are hard earned. But I want people to know, and also vice versa, that I see them. It's like, I will respect you. I won't treat you as an ATM. You may be a whatever, but I will collaborate with you over, hey, I need 50,000, or I need 100,000, because people do that, and it's disheartening. But yes, you're right. I love broken things because someone has touched it before.
Oh, Rebecca and David, this one question is: what made you come back? You haven't told us yet.
Food.
Oh yeah.
Without a doubt.
Your newsfeed has a lot of delicious food. Sometimes look at it for recommendations.
It's funny. A friend of mine from school visited after 10
Maybe
years.
you should hear their story about food.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say, he left yesterday 2 kgs heavier. So,
Yeah.
Oh wait, yes, this.
Even before she married me, she had the task of, you must learn 10 of my family dishes, So, and I even put it in that if you can do all this 10 in Singapore, you can have anything you want.
I achieved 9 of it.
She did 9.
For someone who
Amazing.
didn't know how to cook,
that's still an A+.
Yes. So the
So
only
he can
thing
cook now? He can cook now?
No. She is very protective of her kitchen, so I stay away.
No, he's asking whether I can cook now.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Oh, both of you
Definitely. She can cook, I can't.
Okay.
I just eat.
But you see, that one dish that I had to do, it's really difficult because in Singapore you can't get the right herbs and all.
The perut ikan.
Perut ikan.
Yes.
You know, you have
that
to
is tough.
get the fish bladder to marinate it and then you must get the right range of herbs and
Absolutely.
it's
So
hard.
both sides of my family were very good cook. My aunts, so we grew up with the best Nyonya food and all that. And
Mine
you
is
know,
Southern Nyonya. His is,
so she had to learn how to cook.
yeah, it's very
our
different.
fish.
You
Mine
guys
is
are
very
both Baba Nyonya?
yeah. My from maternal side.
And I didn't know until I was almost 40.
Yeah.
And when we visited Katong House in Singapore, and we were talking to Peter Wee, the owner of Katong House, and he was asking, then I says, I don't think so. But my mom and my mother-in-law was there. He said, yeah, of course you are. I said, then why nobody told me? Because I grew up, yes, I saw my grandmother in baju panjang and all that, but I thought that was what Penang nights are, you know. I
I didn't
never
realize
knew.
you are of the
Yeah,
Peranakan.
I didn't
I think about, isn't it obvious?
But nobody
I
mentioned
guess
it when we grew
wasn't
up.
being defined.
Yeah,
Not like
yeah.
you know,
Chinese
not like if you go to
Peranakan,
Malacca, they are so proud of Peranakan.
Yeah.
In
Yeah,
Penang,
my
they
family.
don't. So they just they just assume. So I didn't know I was Peranakan until I was almost 40.
It's something to do with coming off Cheng Ho's ship. Gives them. Okay, first of all, my mom's Peranakan from Malacca, so I'm actually shooting myself. So I'm offending no one.
Yeah. So this year we went twice to Malacca, and it was so fascinating to see, the Malaccan Peranakan. They all speak their own
their own
dialect,
Malay,
Malay
their own patois,
in-house,
yes.
and the
They do.
patois. It's like, wow, we don't do that in Penang, but wow, great to see that
Penang,
you are
it's more Hokkien with a lot
mix,
more
yeah, we
Hokkien.
mix
The
everything.
origins more from Phuket and Kedah side.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, makes sense. I mean, the distance,
Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, what do you think of the new generation, the new technology? Because I used to be quite hopeful, and people change. I don't know, for some reason, lately I've been like 50-50. I'm just like, could this
What?
go? Just technology and for me, it was more the devaluation of music, because one of the passions that I got to do in life, which I'm very glad and be happy to pass on that I've done it, was music. And I have a or anything auditory, sound, right? And what I was telling you is true. I came through the music industry and I saw this become a direct input box with, and then and it scared me because for me, that was the definition of what made you a musician. Now it's like everybody's, even in Los Angeles, the world, people are trying to figure out, are they musicians or influencers? So that's what I mean. So for me, the reason why I asked this is because I feel that photography, not so much words, people will always need words for now, but photography in a sense, do you think I'm being too pessimistic or should be more optimistic?
No,
Your
we
perception.
should worry because everyone now thinks they are a photographer. Whether they
I didn't
can
want to say
shoot
that, but it's true.
and not. And we have a studio and we have a printer, and we've been trying to encourage people to come and print. We do a free workshop and then you can print yourself, but nobody has taken up that offer. So how can you be a photographer if you don't even have printed a single image out and understand? Because photography is not just taking picture and looking at it on your
mobile.
phone. That is just a fraction. The whole process of photography is touching the print or seeing the print appearing in the dark room and all that. So I feel anyone who hasn't printed, you have lost at least 50% of the pleasure and knowing what a print can do.
Yeah, we used to have a dark room
And
in
the
our
prints
house.
has a unique quality,
Definitely,
resilience.
you touch it. The paper, the light. You reflect the light, appreciate how the pixels are, or the But nowadays, people just swipe. They don't appreciate art at all. You know, they think they do, but they don't. You know, that's why we don't produce ebooks, because we feel people don't really
They will not appreciate it.
They will see it, they flip, and that's
Oh,
it.
it's just
So at
everything
least-
is now is a thumb scroll away, isn't it?
Oh, is that what
From the-
your best
you know,
photos
from
I can't
doing-
find online? Sorry, go for it.
From doing historical research, right? Even the BBC understood this. That's why they're archiving everything. Because digital, if you don't archive digitally, you're losing everything.
That's
you know, I was at the event, people were just
Yeah, it
taking
doesn't
things
exist.
using WhatsApp without putting HD on. You're basically worse than
Exactly.
It's
That's
just
why. That's why
pixelated
now
nonsense.
when we are doing our
film. But you don't
research,
realize you're destroying your memories.
that's why now
And
when
you
we
lose
are,
your phone, that's it. The end.
Well, there's a cloud, but you know.
no. You lose. Like when we are doing the research now for Penang and also for Malacca, suddenly postcards are so important because that's the only place that has retained the image. The rest are all gone. So that's why we are very fearful that this whole generation, there's not going to be any data. Most of it is gone. So can you imagine? Especially in the initial sort of digitalization, I went from film to the most expensive camera. I was carrying 120,000 camera, 20,000 ringgit camera. I had two of them, but it was only 1.3 megabytes.
Yeah, the first of
the
the digital
first
camera.
codec.
So for some of our audiences who don't know what we're talking about, there was a time there's something called film, which are,
Oh my
plastic
God.
sensitive, light sensitive film where you develop into prints. It has a unique property because I found a 30-year-old, process, and I don't know what it is. I unwrote it, and it was some old photos by my relatives. I scanned it, and I could still extract the image out in its full glory. Imagine you have a 30-year-old piece of digital hardware.
Yeah.
It's very unlikely you can revive it
And that's not.
to get the image out. So it has still the unique property of being very physical. As long as you shine the light and you can capture the light, you can retrieve the image.
Yeah, that's why we are now doing.
Imagine JPEG 100 years from now. I don't think anybody will read the format.
No,
So,
no. Yeah, all of this. That's why now we are offering a service where our client will give them a whole bunch of their image, and we make it into a photo book for them. We edit it, and then we give it back to them as a photo book, so something tangible that they can keep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because that explains that feeling I had when I was visiting your studio, your gallery. It's literally something I couldn't explain until like right now. It's an epiphany in my brain. It goes back to what I was saying about things. It's that human element. Like
You need
you
to
have a
feel it.
human being who's holding on to the process, is developing the thing. So when you finally receive the print, I guess on some primordial level, you're kind of like, I'm gonna sound very like, crystals, like the vibration there of a human being having handled it.
Yeah.
I think people can get a good idea if they go to the gallery. Let's talk about the gallery.
Yes.
We've been talking about it, but we didn't
I know. Okay,
actually
let's talk about
describe
it in
it.
detail.
Tell us about the gallery. You said that it started at the most interesting
Yes.
time,
Yes,
right
yes.
smack in the pandemic, and they
Lockdown.
opened a gallery.
Oh, yes.
Our
So let's tell us the
gallery
story.
was open 15 March 2020.
Yeah.
So 3 days later, it was closed down for the first
Oh
lockdown.
my God.
So that was a scary part, and that time we were just extending every 3 months and all that. So that was the worst possible start and all that. But during COVID, we actually grew. We grew from 1 level to 2 levels. And then, we did very well because a lot of the expats were leaving. So they wanted something from Penang. And they
Something tangible.
something
Yes.
tangible. And it's very funny that most of the clients were Australians
Wow.
who will buy for themselves or who will gift their friends who are living and all that. So because we had events at our gallery and all that, so they many had come and were at our gallery before. They could see the quality. So we were lucky during the COVID that we still got orders for prints and all that. So do come and visit our gallery. It's at 15 Jalan Hutton, which is the old Eden Steakhouse next to now the Founders Cafe.
Yeah,
So-
he has never brought me to Eden before.
It's a beautiful
Yeah, she still saw.
space.
She still saw that she hasn't been before they closed down, and
Yeah, we've been married for so long, right? He could have taken me there. It had existed until like probably 8 9 years ago before.
I don't mean to exaggerate, but when you enter in there, you're surrounded by these beautifully done images. It's breathtaking.
It's about the gallery or the restaurant that
Gallery.
you
Gallery. You're thinking about food, man. You're talking
Yeah,
about
Lovely
gallery.
weather we're having today.
The gallery is wonderful. Yeah.
But no, I
How much
I love
work do
it.
you put into it to get it into that? How long did it take to get to that?
Over the COVID period, yeah. So we started by having the initial exhibition at ENO where we had 30 prints, and then we slowly grew because we were doing a few other exhibitions around.
Was it an outshoot of that book?
Yes, yeah. So it went from over Penang, and then it went from over Penang beyond, and then we did over Sarawak, and then we
Invited
did
over to Bagan. Yeah.
and then over Malaysia now. So we have slowly covered our country. The only place we haven't been is the wilder part of Sabah and also Labuan, which we are trying to go now. Yeah. But
Are you
other than
planning
that,
to do it over every single negeri?
we
Yes,
are hoping
yes.
to. In fact, we have already completed Perak and Sarawak.
Wow.
So, but our model is we don't want to print the old-fashioned way and then try and sell. So we are always on the lookout to get partnership first. So partnership is we
Sponsors,
just need somebody, 6 of them, to agree to buy 100 books each. And with that, we can customize the book jacket to them. So we are targeting corporations who are willing to do that for each. So
This
that's
reminds
our...
me of an important point we talked at your gallery too, about the sustainability of art as a business.
Exactly.
Yes, sometimes people think of art and like you only poor artists and do it. No, poor artists don't produce anything.
Yeah.
You need. There's nothing wrong in having a sustainable
That's right.
business. And
So
maybe you can explain your model a little
So
bit.
we always feel when you do a good book, somebody will definitely benefit from it as well as you. And for investment of, let's say, 100 books is only 15,000 ringgit. You get your own 100 books customized to this company to be able to give or to share. That is so minimal to support art. So we are trying to do that as our business model. We can do a project, let's say over Para, with 6 partners, and you think it wouldn't be that difficult, DIY, Spritzers, and a few others, each one only agreeing to
originate
put
from
in
there.
100 books, and you have an over Para that everyone can appreciate and like what we are doing, for Penang, So, but the only issue is because there's only 2 of us, it's kind of hard to be doing everything and trying to do sales as well as...
Even though it's just the both of you, you guys are doing phenomenal work. Because
Thank you so much.
I didn't realize until today that you started in 2018. Well, then you also sent me
Yeah.
the profile. That's when I realized. Hence, I wasn't too surprised.
Yeah,
But
so we did quite a bit in this 5 years, especially most of it was COVID, and so gutsy too to produce the second book
During COVID.
during COVID.
Something like this, how much does it cost to get it produced and printed?
So this one,
give an idea.
the issue with publishing is if you only print 1,000 copies, it's going to be expensive per book. But if you manage to print 3,000, then you bring the cost per book down a lot. So that is the trick. So like whenever you want to do a book project, you try to get at least 2,000 copies. So how do you get 2,000 copies? You get partners to come in. So like in this book, we did the book ready. Then we went out to our partners. There were few of them here, and we put them under the best of Penang.
It's the economy of
So
scale.
because of that,
you print the
Yeah.
cheaper, yes.
we sold 1,000 copies before we even went to the printer. And because of this business model, it covered the whole project. So now, with the extra 2,000 copies, we are sharing with the community, people we want to support, and that you sell the book, you keep half of the book, the cost, the printing cost. So to do a book, like say for Hidden Gem and all that, it can be easy because you know so many people, and all you need them to do is agree to buy 50 books, 100 books.
Well, when you say
we
so
might
many
do a People of
it's you
Penang
guys.
book
You
after the
guys,
first season.
it doesn't
Yeah.
go far beyond the community.
Yeah. So like all this, we put it together in 3 months, during COVID, because after May or June, I was like at home. I said I cannot be doing nothing, sitting down. So we were like, let's do a book, and that's it.
So
we
if you have gone through the book, right, one of the reasons why we have a camera is like these are all captured, and it was in our
between
stock.
20 when we came back, so it was only 2 years work that we went everywhere to capture everything.
Covered
But
everything.
both of your brand are so strong. Everyone always speaks highly of your work. That's why I just couldn't fathom that it's only been 5 years. I really genuinely thought.
So over Penang, you got a commission somewhat to do it, right? But no.
Over commission is our own work.
I
Then
see.
after 6 months, we felt, hey, we need to show this to somebody because
see.
it's good work. And that was only when we
And how Simply Penang came to about? You just thought of it and then-
Simply Penang came because after we did Over Penang, everyone was complaining too big, too heavy, too expensive.
Yeah.
So I said, okay,
Can't
we
please
will now
everybody.
we will do a book that you cannot complain. You keep it at 40 ringgit or and
Is
then
it too small? How?
I also noticed
small,
now you are
I can't
branding
see.
yourself Simply This, Simply That.
Yes,
Is that conscious, right?
we love
It's a
the
conscious
word
effort.
Simply
Yes.
Penang, and then especially the effortlessly charming. I thought that was perfect for
Oh.
Penang,
Yeah.
effortlessly charming. And we were hoping the state will just adopt it, but unfortunately they have not yet.
You know how the copyright thing
Oh
is.
yeah. No, it's brilliant.
And that was done before AI. We didn't even need
Yeah.
AI to do this. So we were trying to come out with the second title, subtitle. How before, because
So he generally had all this like thing describing Penang to me. So don't forget, I am still new to Penang. In 2020.
well, you had
when
me,
it comes-
fool. Okay.
Then, but as the description comes, like, hey, this is a way to say it, the charm that is existing here. I mean, it's as simple as when I after arriving in Penang, and I would like take a camera and walk about, and there are people who are like, "Are you lost? Or where would you like to go?" And these are like strangers, approaching me, like, "Where would you like to go, girl?" That's a nice part, girl. And I've seen others too, where someone is with a map, and then someone in the car will like just wind down the window. "Oh, where are you going? Let me show you on the map." Everyone is offering you that. So that was this warm. There's this people there, and then they'll be happy doing their own things. There's always this small little charm as you walk around. So that then when he described like, okay, we need a second title. What can it be? And from that description, it's like, yeah, people are just doing it so effortlessly. That there's no crime about there's a motive or anything. So that totally that helped to piece out that
It's true. It's a lack of pretense here. Is it? We are
Yes,
what we are.
precisely. Yes.
that's why we Bochap is a
Simply Bochap. Recently,
On
his
the
tag
other-
Simply Bochap.
Then on the other extreme, yes, that's the bochap.
See, I think people don't realize, when you get into a certain profession, especially if it's of the arts, whether it's audio or visual, that awareness, that's not something you can teach, and I realize, because as a parent, I'm trying to ingrain like awareness of the room to my kid. Even that load is quite difficult. I can only imagine for something as complex and intangible and I don't want to say spiritual, but that internal feeling that you get from art or music. Because for me, great art just changes you the moment you walk out the door. And that has happened rarely to me. And that's how I know. There are many times when I walk in, I was like, very nice, but it could be a small shop. I walk in, just a painting in there, and I don't know, I'm staring at it, and like I walk out and I just look at purple, this blue, red is now yellow. It's just so weird,
Yeah, it gives you a different perspective. It's like wherever we travel, we will visit art galleries, we'll visit museums, and there's certain work of art that the two of us, you just stare at it, and we won't move, and we would just appreciate it. Whether there were little nuances of things that the artist was trying to tell you. We try not to interpret or read too much into it, but it was generally just what you see there. It's so pleasing. Yeah. So then and then probably a conversation follows after. So similarly, like when we first did Over Penang, I was wondering like, will people know what we are trying to tell them? Because it's so detached. You are away, from that scene, right? But then because piecing it together, it's a piece of, a tapestry of work that when you look at it, it's like, do I want to define it, or it's just nature at its best?
and being from Reuters, we always wanted it to be fair and balanced equally. So in when we did Over Penang, we made sure we covered mainland a lot. we went to
Yeah.
all, we
That
all
side.
We were
the-
just talking about
Mainland.
pulau dengan seberang.
not just concentrate on the island.
Yep.
So we did that. We covered even the Milky Way and Batu.
Oh yes, do you know
so
you
what?
can see the Milky Way in
The Milky Way,
Getasanggo?
Getasanggo.
I didn't know.
Yeah. So we went.
There's
to that
one guy doing this also. You might get him on the astrophotography.
Yeah, so we purposely did our research and then go to all these places that people have not seen and have not. So like even like the Prai River that you go 1 kilometer in and you can see, go for all this birds and
Yeah,
watching and all
watching,
that during
yeah.
the sunset.
Sorry, Eugene,
Yeah.
I can finally see it. No, because Eugene was telling me a really interesting history about
Yeah.
Prai or
Prai
Seberang
River,
Prai.
yeah.
That's
That's right.
What did you
Yeah.
tell me? It was an angle, right?
Yeah.
No, that's Juru.
Oh, sorry, Juru.
Yeah.
Sorry, Juru.
Yeah.
But actually, prize is the old
Yeah.
word for selok belok. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, so it's all syllable. Is it Juru?
Yeah.
Oh.
Juru is angled. It's different. It's very angled, sharp angle.
And Prai is the sneaky.
Yeah, it's sneaky.
Oh, okay, I understand now.
Oh, our time is almost up. But I think we can sneak in one more topic. And your army hat reminds me of something interesting.
I hope it's not about war.
Our previous guest, David, our previous guest, he casually strolled into Soviet-occupied Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah, amazing
Yeah,
guy.
so I think you have some stories too during your Reuters times. Penangas are also adventurous worldwide when they come back.
Well, when September 12th, I was in Singapore in the family. The girls were like 7 years old. And the September 11th happened. And my direction was go to Afghan on September 12th. So, I was like, how the hell do you even do such a thing? So from Singapore, we went to Islamabad.
Our previous guest went
Yeah.
there.
You
guys went to the same place,
It's
same
in the
time?
Soviet era, and now this
Yeah.
one is in the
In
9/11
September 12th.
era. So we
From
Wow.
there, we tried to go in, but of
To
course the
cross in.
borders were all closed. So I was there for 2.5, 3 weeks, but we couldn't get in. But we got to the border where all the refugees were and all that. So we got very amazing shots of the refugees. But unfortunately we never did get. But my most harrowing experience was in Jakarta during the fall of Suharto, where they
Oh,
were
the riots.
where they
The
were
riots.
chanting, burn down Chinatown and all that, and I was right in there covering, and
Chinese guy.
we
That
there was a time where suddenly you hear the chant, and you're like, okay, that is me. What am I doing here? So sometimes, although we are trained in Reuters, hostile environment, and so on and so on, a week training by SAS. But sometimes when you're working, you're so zoned that you forget where you are, and it's like looking at video games playing. So that was what happened to me. I was, somehow sucked in, covering the Chinatown and all that, and the mob was just around me.
Yeah.
But so in a mob situation, you just need one fool to just come after you, and you're it. So we were very lucky. Many times we went in, come out, no problem. But another agency goes in, and they have been,
Oh my
For
God.
those of
get
us
the
who
trouble.
don't know how this agency things work, how does it work? You mean somebody just say that, oh, that's an event, they just send you off the next flight? Is it how it works?
Yeah, that's how
It's
it
like that.
basically works. Yeah, because most of the news agency, they have 1 or 2 photographers per country. So when something big like the death of Deng Xiaoping or the fall of Suharto, they reinforce with people. So for a while, I was their fireman. So I get to send to all this spots to cover. So that's where
I think
it
one
was
of the scarier one was also when he had to reinforce in Sri Lanka after his colleague was hurt
Injured
in
in a suicide bomber.
bomber.
So you guys were already
All
married
things-
at that time, is it?
Yeah. So So getting a call, your colleague has just been injured, suicide bomber, go and replace him, and you're like, okay.
How do you react to that?
I'm like,
Oh, last time is always very simple. We say, if I do get into trouble or if I die, you'll be very rich, so don't worry about it. Yeah.
well insured, but then again,
Well insured, yeah. Last time Reuters used to insure us very well, but unfortunately they changed now, so no more.
But the thought of that the danger that you would not know,
Yeah.
right? Suicide bombers can be anywhere, and he was sent in to reinforce.
In Jakarta, there was one incident where one of the rioters snatched a pistol and walk towards the row of army.
Huh.
And the row of army, they were having M16 to point at that guy. And I have a friend, I won't name him, he walked behind this guy
Oh gosh.
taking
That's
photographs.
silly.
Oh my God.
That is silly.
Very dedicated.
I was like, "What are you doing?" So I went to the side because it's not worth dying over this idiot. You never know when he's gonna pull the gun, walking towards 20
The
feet from the
army,
police
yeah.
line, and you are behind him. If anyone shoot, the bullet is gonna go through all of you. So yeah, but luckily nothing happened. And
Could you guide me into the mind of what it's like to because you said you gave me a taste of it. It was like you get tunnel vision. Sometimes
Yeah.
you don't notice, but I'm trying to understand. Was it a colleague of yours or?
it was was she? No, he was with a different agency.
But why would?
Sometimes fame, sometimes glory, sometimes stupidity. It's hard to
Adrenaline.
when adrenaline, and sometimes you just don't notice.
Yeah, I noticed that some people are built different. And
I mean,
that as a
we
compliment.
are built differently.
Yeah.
Everyone is trying to evacuate from the country, and you are trying to go in.
That's exactly what I mean.
where there was a car bomb and everyone's running away, but you're running towards the car bomb. It's like,
Yeah.
I guess besides that, that whole sense of adrenaline, like you say, it's also after witnessing this, or like when he's on the desk, right, as a editor in charge and all, and the images and the videos that comes in, and at one point the beheading and
Beheading,
whatnot,
then we have to
they see such.
You witnessed that.
yeah. We had to process
you have to
the
process
photograph.
it. So it's like, how do you just overcome that?
Because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we're not in the 90s anymore, so I can openly say it. Is that for me, I get queasy whenever I go past like it changes my day.
Yeah,
I can only imagine what it's like for you. You're in a war zone. You're seeing horrible things.
Yeah.
Humanity is worse.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever? Because I know a guy who's like.
So that's why you have to be passionate in what you do, trying to tell the story, so that more people will be able to do and cause change. Yeah, because you are there, you are the only one who can tell the right story. So that's the one that gives you the energy and the impetus to push forward and to continue.
So let me get this. So your internal motor, your foundational characteristics that you're willing to die for.
We try not to.
I mean, obviously, I'm not saying you should. Whatever it was, you're putting life limb.
But you have to take risks. You cannot stay at home. In there was one incident. The journalist, he will be on the third floor of the University Trisakti when that happened, and he's like, David, I'll be here. You go. If you see anything, let me know. No point both of us getting injured.
Oh my God.
Actually, nobody does this for money, right?
Yeah.
What drove you? Is it to get the news out?
I mean, it's just your job.
Yep.
You know you're good at it. You are passionate about trying to tell the truth, which is what makes you want to go there. Yeah, a lot of times you volunteer to go there. But I have never been to Afghanistan probably because we had family then, so the office didn't send me. Yeah, but a lot of my colleagues went. Yeah, so.
Did they come back?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
okay,
mean,
thank
some
God.
don't. Some.
Oh, wow.
Now we've come to-
the guy that in Pakistan, the photographer. Yeah, he got assassinated.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So.
Because that's the thing, right? I mean, in war zones, they tend to
Yeah.
snipe
of course.
journalists.
Yeah. And the recent Gaza war is the highest toll for kids and for journalists. Ever.
Do you wear like a normal guy, or you do wear the thing with the vest?
We
dress?
have to wear our full gear, which is crazy. You have a metal plate here that 30 kg or so. You have two, and you can't work with that, but you are forced to if you need to. Yeah. So
Okay,
Like
we
a
have
death.
come to the part of the show where we let our guests. You can talk what you want with our audience. You can share about your courses, your
It could be a one-liner.
projects.
It could be a whole
You-
TED talk.
shout out.
well, right now we are trying to use, as mentioned, our books and our images to help the community. So one of the new project we are doing is to share our photographs, our limited edition photograph with Mount Miriam hospitals. So we are trying to create a space called art therapy, where
art.
people can, the patients, the visitors can enjoy, and hopefully visitors will come and also meet with the caregivers and all that, so that we can bring a bit of joy to the patient there. We'll start off with Mount Meriam, but we're hoping that we can expand that to more
To other institutions who.
So unfortunately, we don't have the capability to expand, but so we are offering a chance for people who would like to help to either buy the prints to put it there permanently,
As a
or to
permanent
buy or
collection
donate for donations. That's the latest project we are doing, and we are looking forward for that to be able to expand. Thank you so
So
much.
Rebecca and David, if people want to see more of your postings and all that, where should they go?
Follow us. We are in many social media as David ST Loh or David ST Loh Images. Or please come to our gallery. Just Google David ST Loh Gallery, and it's at 15A Jalan Hutton. Let us know, because it's by appointment only. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank
Okay,
you for...
and that was Simply David and Simply Rebecca. Thank you.
Thank
Well,
you
that's
so
a
much.
good one.
Yeah.
You were thinking about that for a while. I can see it. That's why I was
just
like,
wanted to say that.
Eugene wants to end this.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
thank you.